UNICEF supports Gambia with births and death registration materials. Council Bensouda says the greatest violation in the country occurred after the 1997 constitution was adopted. University students react to demands of nurses and midwives. These and more coming on Gambia 24. Good evening, you're watching Gambia 24 News with me, Mariama Cham, and thanks for joining us. The number of children whose births are officially registered has increased slightly in the Gambia, but tens of thousands more remain unregistered. The trend mirrors the global really where 1,166 million children under 5 are homeless by documentation according to UNICEF. More in this report. Globally, 1 in 4 children under the age of 5 has no nationality anywhere in the world today due to lack of birth registration or proof of nationality. The United Nations Children Emergency Fund ascribed the reasons for this to the lack of resources and investments in accurate and comprehensive civil registration systems, coupled with barriers in accessing birth registration services along with policies, regulatory and institutional obstacles. The National Assembly of the Gambia recently amended the Bill on Birth, Marriage and Death, giving parents and guardians a 30-day birth registration deadline or be liable to a fine. Sama Balde, a child protection specialist at UNICEF, explains the importance of registering the birth of a child, noting that there is more to be done to prevent the situation of statelessness.
Birth registration provides the first legal recognition of the child and is the first right in the Convention for the Rights of Children. It enables a child to receive medical treatment, go to school, inherit property, and find legal work. It also facilitates protection from child labor, arrestation, treatment as adult in the justice system, forcible conscription in armed forces, child marriage, trafficking, and sexual exploitation. There is still a lot to do ensure that all children in the Gambia obtain their right to birth registration, and we are lagging behind in our objective to reach 100% of birth registration in 2030.
Lamin B. Fati, a registrar of births and deaths, says UNICEF's intervention led to the creation of outlets where people can get birth certificates without having to travel all the way to the main referral hospital in Banjul.
Because of this, the UNICEF program supporting the Ministry of Health to ensure that our decentralization and integration of birth registration processing into reproductive and child health services. That led to the creation of the Ministry of Health to create 73 registration centers and 252 outlets where registration can be held and certificate will be issued at the regional level instead of people traveling all the way from Bolibana to Banjul for a certificate.
The support from UNICEF includes desktop computers, server machines, laptops, tablets, and printers meant to facilitate the work of public health officials in registration of births and deaths in the country. Data from the Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey of 2018 shows a slow increase of 5.8% in the number of births registered from 2010 to 2018. While the figures look bad, 78 out of every 100 mothers and caregivers know how to register their children. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Mariama Cham. The Secretary General and flag bearer of the People's Democratic Organization for Independence and Socialism says his party will launch a manifesto to fight against ignorance and poverty if they are to assume responsibility. According to Honorable Salah, Doi will be committed to fighting the battle against ignorance and poverty to attain a land of free persons and prosperous humans. Details of that in this report by Fatmata Kasim.
Although the Gambia's national poverty rate rose slightly with 0.5 percentage point between 2010 and 2016, the number of people living in poverty went up to 0.79 million in 2010 to 0.94 million in 2016. The number of people living in poverty went up at varying portions in both urban and rural areas. Honorable Halifa Saleh, Secretary General of People's Democratic Organization for Independence and Socialism, said the Gambia will not be free from ignorance and poverty until system change and transformative agenda take center stage.
The debt burden of this country is $77.4 billion, meaning that even the newly born child carries a debt burden of $38,000. A newly born Gambian child carries a burden of $38,000. How are we going to solve that problem? We are saying that we'll create a cooperative bank out of the sovereign wealth of the land that will be able to purchase the fishing trawlers, that will plow our waters and ensure that we put more wealth in our coffers and earn more foreign exchange.
Speaking at a press conference on Tuesday, Halifa questioned why Gambia spent $4 million in rice importation when the country has arable land for cultivation.
Import substitution. We have indicated very clearly that we spend $4 billion in terms of importation of rice, when we have all the land to be able to cultivate, lacking only the resources to be able to do that. When we have money in our coffers, which we can send back to the farming community and give them the fertilizer, the seeds and farming implements they need, and produce abundant rice, and therefore leave $4 billion in our hands rather than leaving the country in terms of foreign exchange. That is what you call import substitution.
He added that in the tourism sector, almost 300,000 tourists are capable of coming to the Gambia. Honorable Saleh, who is also a parliamentarian for Serekunda, said they will engage cooperative banks to sponsor activities that open ways for marketing their products and link to the strategy of promoting tourism in the country.
They will say 280 something, but 3,000 tourists realistically could be mobilized to come to the Gambia. We are saying that we will have a program where each tourist, before you leave your land, will tell you about the poverty of our people. Those people who are going to go there to sell the country will not only be selling sand, beach, and sun. They will be selling humanity. They will be telling those people what they can add to our country that is of value. That at least if they spend even $100 or euro, that goes to our people. How? We'll get our people to start making cloth, to start making pottery, to start making all those things that constitute our national heritage.
To him, development is about knowledge and science, not imitation. It is about study and not ready-made. The top politician said they will look at the potential the country has and craft their policies on the basis of what is scientifically possible to enable them achieve their goals. For iAfrica News, I am Fatoumata Kasim.
Now, students of the University of the Gambia are noticeably in solidarity with nurses and midwives in their demand for better welfare. The Gambian Nurses and Midwives Association, in a press conference on Monday, threatened to go on a sit-down strike should the government fail to meet their demands this week. We have more in this report by Binta Fati.
The healthcare workers called on government to deliver or face the consequences in the form of a nationwide sit-down strike. Their demands include the provision of personal protective equipment as well as an increase in their allowance, which they argued has been stagnant for decades. The decision of the association sparked debates among Gambians, including students of the University of the Gambia, most of who give merit to the demands of the healthcare workers.
And this is really heart-touching, it's heartbreaking. It's a shame that the government of this country is not considering our nurses, because the most important sector that the government should prioritize is the health sector. We cannot talk about democracy or development or any other advancement without our people being healthy. If our people are not healthy, we cannot do anything, we cannot go forward. So the nurses, what they are complaining, I really support it. Imagine gloves, mere gloves. Government officials are riding very expensive vehicles, you know, but the gloves that the nurses need in the hospitals to take care of our people are not available. Injections, imagine a nurse using an injection on 2-3 people, putting many other people at risk.
For Kadi Kombaseidi, even though the decision of healthcare workers will cause potential havoc on the health sector, their demands are good for the public as it means better resources and logistics for patients.
To me, it's going to cause a lot of havoc on our health sector, even though, on my own opinion, it is a good thing for them to do, because I think they deserve better than what they are getting. They are not just demanding for allowances and salaries, but they are also demanding for better resources, better logistics in their health sectors, which are not available to them.
The Vice President of the UTG Students' Union, Famta Danso, said the primary duty of every nation should be to invest right in the health system as it determines the success of a nation.
So if the first contact point, which is the health system, is in a dilapidated state, I think it should be a cause for concern, and it should be a national cause for concern. And then we hope that the authorities have had the claims that have been made by the health personnel and would also look into taking up actions that would curb the situation.
Alhaji Silla, the Vice President of the UTG Nursing Association, who is part of the demanding party, emphasized the seriousness in their demands. He argued that the Ministry of Health has not been taking matters of this nature seriously.
We respect our patients. Patient care is our priority. So we've been advocating for that, and we will still advocate for that. But this has been a long overdue. So these are basic things that needs to be solved. We've seen recently doctors and then PhD holders, there has been increment in their allowances. So, and then our own was tabled earlier before theirs. So then almost 3 to 4 months back, we've tabled these things. So they do not even listen to those pledges, and then they went on to increase those ones. So that means there is selective when it comes to the healthcare sector. They've been selective.
The healthcare system of the Gambia is faced with so many challenges, ranging from infrastructural development, technological advancement, healthcare equipment, as well as financial challenges. These challenges are time to time blamed on the prevalence of corruption and lack of foresight from the leadership of the ministry. One thing is certain, the sector continued underdeveloped as a share in the toll of disaster from the preventable complications such as maternal mortality. The Gambia has, since the change in government in 2017, a lot of threats from civil servants, mostly due to poor working conditions aggravated by low salary scales and allowances. The healthcare givers have been on the limelight several times, but not to the extent of a deadly result from withdrawal of their labor. This time, however, it is a matter of time to tell whether all health facilities will be abandoned to the patients alone. For Africa TV News, I am Binta Fati.
Well, that report by Binta Fati will take us to a quick break, and we'll be right back with the rest of the news. Stay with us.
The pride we take in our brand, the work we put into constantly change the landscape and elevate real estate in the Gambia, it's compared to none. From inception, our goal was to add value to the beautiful Gambian landscape. That's why we are proud innovators of community estates. Kololi Sands is an exceptional piece of work, tailored for ultimate convenience and luxury, to bring you an element of finesse that is rare but unique in its own. This is also our pride and joy, and we welcome you to the exquisite beauty right here in Kololi and right here on the waterfront. Kololi Sands, feel the ocean breeze at your doorstep.
tayumako dafa ne ci man coono di dem dëkk ba dëkka rawatina ba foofa ci Sénégal pour jëndi daal jeex na fii ci biir réew ak Stroll Company sa jaaxle jeex na waaw dineen defar bépp xeeti daal te itam dinay dégee rafet ci ay njëkk yu yomba compagnie bi lee di Stroll dineen la defaral daala aso bi fekkee ne da nga nekk ci political party bugg nga nuroo leeg say waay ngay dem foofa ca Stroll Company yi daal di la defaral daala bu dëgër baax te rafet moo xam itam da nga am xew bugg sa yére nuroog sa daala demal seeti ñii di Stroll Company te emun ci loolu dina dinañ la defaral sa daala si saasi boo demee ñi nata la nga toog wax leen li nga bëgg ñi defaral la ko te itam dinañ defar daala si wholesale wala retail seeti leen foofa sa Suncu Alaaji te nag lu ci gën a neex mooy doomi Gambian moo ko moom teg ci di dimbale ay ndaw pour ñi am fu ñuy xëyee seeti leen foofa ca Suncu Alaaji ca Kunkujang Johnson boo demee rek di nga gis seen table nga daal di leen dem seeti sa xol ne nga am sa dalle boo yàggami bi mun ngaa nemmeeku seen website bi si www.strollshops.com wala nga oo ñu si 7473692 wala 7150195 ak Stroll Company sa jaaxle jeex na ci dem beeg dikk bi ci dàlla kese.
Welcome back and still on Gambia 24. Former Acting Attorney General and Minister of Justice Ami Bensouda has told the Truth Commission on Tuesday that all the violations that occurred in the Gambia happened after the 1997 Constitution was adopted. The private legal practitioner says the 6 decrees he helped in drafting were incorporated in the 1997 Constitution without repealing them. More in this report by Omar Ahmed Toure.
Ami Bensouda, the former lead counsel at Janneh Commission, tells the Truth Commission that decrees had not given utmost powers to the military to conduct despotic acts. Despite Counsel Jahade's intervention that those decrees did not provide guidelines for activities of the junta, but rather gave them an act of force, Madam Bensouda disagrees. She says the decrees were drafted to restore order.
The decrees did not enable Yaya Jammeh and his regime. Yaya Jammeh and his group, the junta, took power without any decrees. They held power without decrees. They arrested people without decrees. They tortured people without decrees. So the decrees were intended to introduce order in our society.
The former Solicitor General also refuses to take responsibility for the consequences the decrees brought and instead shifts blame on Yaya Jammeh and the accomplices.
So Yaya Jammeh should take responsibility, his junta should take responsibility for the tortures, the killings.
Yaya Jammeh la sojarolo itelle nyanta oduno tala ye tajire yalu menuke aniye mo falu menuke.
Nobody in the Ministry of Justice enabled them to do so. I did not create the regime, the military regime. And I think it is only by grace of God that people escaped Yaya Jammeh's victimization.
According to Bensouda, most military governments kill because they want to instill fear in people and extend their perpetuation in power. She says linking her to such atrocities is unjust.
And I think it would be unfair, if I may put it that way, to lead them to believe that those who drafted these decrees were the authors and therefore have some responsibility.
And unfair at a collecting come in Nimani Senandiko, come in Molmi alonko wole in decree ke Marco Puria Deda.
It would be wrong to lead them to believe that without this decrees, Yaya Jammeh's horrendous human rights violation would not have occurred.
Come ya motako come na tala no nyin decree nyin lual nyi me deda ka fo decree come ya jemela nyin tilimbalial nyin tajiri ya ko min be katanu denda takela.
These decrees did not enable Yaya Jammeh. The military was a totalitarian regime.
Yeah. In ending her testimony, Madam Bensouda emphasizes that the Gambia needs a new constitution that wouldn't contain elements of decrees, adding that decrees are a check to democracy. Ami Bensouda was a former Minister of Justice and Attorney General. She was a legal draft person who has expertise in corporate and commercial law, banking and finance, human rights, and dispute resolution, among others. She is also a member of the London Institute of Chartered Arbitrators and a trained mediator. For iAfrica TV, this is Omar Ahmadu Toure reporting.
In this month of seeking mercy and forgiveness, providing iftar to less privileged is believed to be an ideal way to maximize possible reward during the 30-day-long fasting period. According to scholars, giving out charity in this holy month could help loosen the weight of one's sins. Ustaz Chebo Cham underscored the importance of helping people who cannot afford their daily meals, especially during the holy month of Ramadan. More in this report. Fasting the full day and staying up at night may be difficult, but having nothing or little to satisfy that hunger is more challenging. In that regard, Allah has assigned those who are wealthy to look down to those who struggle during Ramadan to sustain themselves. Ustaz Chebo Cham emphasized that whatever Muslims can do during the holy month of Ramadan to increase their iman and purify their hearts should be strengthened. According to Ustaz Cham, part of the reasons why Allah imposed Ramadan on Muslims is to experience hunger and thirst, so as to know how the poor feel if there is nothing on their table to eat.
In Ramadan, we need to open our hearts to help one another. Some of the reasons why Allah imposed Ramadan upon us is to test hunger on His servant, so that those with abundance can experience what it is to be thirsty and hungry, so that they can look back to those people who are always hungry and thirsty because of poverty. That is why Allah supports those who support the needy only for His sake. It is painful to fast from morning till dawn without having nothing to eat or break your fast with. Or sometimes you might only have a single bread and a cup of tea, and sometimes you might have nothing to put in that bread.
The prominent Ustaz says giving out charity is one of the key characteristics of Ramadan, explaining how it should be done.
When we talk about giving out charity in Ramadan, many think that only the wealthy people should give out charity. No, whatever Allah has blessed you with, no matter how small, you can take a little from it and give it away as charity. If you have $5, give out $1. You have $20, you can give out $2, no problem. Allah always returns what you give away for the sake of Him and helps the needy. You can ask those who always give out charity for the sake of Allah. Allah always gives back something to them.
During Ramadan, fasting and acts of charity are obligatory upon Muslims who are able to do so. Fasting from sunrise to sunset is representative of a spiritual cleansing and effort to become closer to God. It is also an attempt to gain a better understanding of human suffering. As narrated by Al-Bukhari and Muslim, the Messenger of Allah, may peace be upon him, says, "Save yourselves from the hellfire, even if it is with half a date given in charity. And if you cannot find that, then save yourselves by saying a good word." Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Mariama Cham. Well, that report on the importance of giving out charity during Ramadan with Ustaz Chebo Cham there brings us to the end of Gambia 24. I am Mariama Cham. Thanks for watching and do have a good night.